Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Garrett Gunderson. I own and operate Archetype Mortgage. We're currently licensed in the entire state of Texas, and we are not realtors or a real estate brokerage. We just do mortgage. So what that means is, we're your first stop for home purchasing, right? You want to find a good place that you can trust to give you accurate information, good service as far as quotes and knowledge, and you want to work with someone like myself who actually runs the company and has all of the knowledge, experience, and accountability that is part of that whole thing. Like, my competition isn't really even competition in that way, because 99% of the people you find out in the wild who are a loan officer, for example, don't run their company. They don't have to deal with the company license and compliance and accounting and all this stuff. And they only have to know one role out of the six. So talking with me is like talking with an entire team at a mortgage company at the same time. Next, what's really cool about being a broker is we have access to a ton of programs that a lot of companies simply do not have access to, or because there's so many loan programs, they haven't had the training or experience to find all these little niche gems and diamonds in the rough. So let's talk about mortgage credit certificates and just how crazy awesome these things are if you qualify. I'm going to be building an entire separate page on targeted areas on census tracts shortly, so you can jump over to that, and they have much higher income limits. And so the vast majority of home buyers in Texas would qualify, whether it's an existing resale home anywhere in the state, or if their income is too high, they can pick a home in one of these targeted areas that I'm going to be building lists for you to be able to identify, because your realtors will not know. Almost nobody has the system in place for the targeted census tract that I'm building. It's really cool. But first, let's see if we can get you way below market rates with a mortgage credit certificate. What is the actual effect of the savings looks like here? Look at this. So the mortgage credit certificate gives you a 15% tax credit, not a reduction, a tax credit based on the mortgage interest you pay each year. So for example, on a $300,000 loan right here, if you were to get a note rate of 7%, as long as you live in that home, you can claim your mortgage credit certificate when you file your IRS taxes. The effective interest rate of that, 5.95. And then 6.5%, 5.53, all the way down to 5%, 4.25. I'm not giving you a quote. This is for educational purposes. It's also why I'm not giving APRs, because this is just for educational purposes. So you get the idea. Holy crap, these mortgage credit certificates save me a ton of money, a ton of interest. So now that that's in your head, here's how powerful it is, right? So a lot of people will be like, oh, well, who cares? I'm going to go get a new construction. They're offering me a 5%. I'm going to get a great deal on that. Well, why don't you just work with me and get the mortgage credit certificate and then have them buy your rate down even lower? Because they usually don't have access to this. So here's an example. If you were to buy the interest rate without the mortgage credit certificate, which is like $1,000, it's the best ROI you're going to get almost in your whole life, like guaranteed return. This thing pays for itself in just a few months on interest credit savings. Let's say let's get back to the point. On a $200,000 loan, if you were to do the mortgage credit certificate at a 6% rate, to buy that interest rate down to give you the same effective rate as what the mortgage, $6,000. Okay, and the companies that are out here in the market, even if you don't qualify for a mortgage credit certificate, I am more times than not going to save you thousands of dollars for the exact same rate. Let's say a competitor has a 6% and I have a 6.1. Even if that's the case, dollar for dollar, if we can get you that mortgage credit certificate, they are not even they're not even in the running anymore. They're not even close, because I'm $6,000 better. And you can still use seller credits or buy. So on a $200,000 loan, $6,000 in savings, roughly 3% in discount points worth of savings to get this mortgage credit certificate. On a $300,000 loan, it would be the equivalent of dang near $9,000 in discount points to get that rate bought down like that. So that's, rates change daily. This is just an example, but that just shows you how powerful this is. and how you can get tomorrow's rates hopefully lowered today with a mortgage credit certificate. I have an official explainer video from the TDHCA, who is one of 8 for these benefits. You can watch that at your leisure. And why you need to know about this, even if you don't want down payment assistance. So what's cool about it, with these eligible loan types, we can do one where you get down payment assistance. Some of it's forgivable, some of it stays there, but there's no interest or no monthly payments on that down payment assistance. If you want to put 20 or 50% down on a conventional loan and you qualify for a mortgage credit certificate, you can do that. You can do it on a 15-year with no down payment assistance. You can do it on a USDA loan. The options are fantastic. So this is not just limited to people who want down payment assistance. We'll run the numbers together and I'll check it and show you. Even if you're putting 20% down, if you're eligible for 5% down payment assistance and a mortgage credit certificate, why not take it, right? You're paying taxes. Let's get some use out of it for you and your family, right? So next, eligibility, first-time homebuyer definitions. Okay, so this one gets complicated. The long story short, down here, special note, if you do not apply, if these 3 options do not apply, we may still be able to give you down payment assistance just without the mortgage credit certificate. So number 1 right here, if you and your spouse have not owned a primary residence in the last 3 years, which we'll check, you're eligible. Congratulations. And you're under certain income limits, which we'll get to next. The exemption to that is if you are a qualified veteran. So as long as you have not used a bond or MCC program before, and if you and or your spouse is a qualified veteran, unfortunately no active duty, thank you for your service, but you have to have an honorably discharged DD-214, and even if you are not a first-time buyer, you can still get this, and you do not need to go with a VA loan. So if you're a qualified veteran and you want to put 50% down conventional for your second property, this is still a no-brainer. Let's go. Let's make it work. And then option 2 to make an exemption is the targeted census tract. So I'm making an entire system of finding eligible addresses for all the major metros in Texas, so you can get on a mailing list to find which properties actually qualify, because this is really hard data entry. I have secret sauce on how I generate this information for you. So you can work with a realtor and just give them a list and say, hey, these houses, they give me the mortgage credit certificate. They give me the down payment assistance. They give me the higher income limits to qualify to get a smoking deal on a house relative to market interest rates. Next up, income limits. The majority of home buyers qualify, okay? So I'm not let us validate the numbers. Most of you, no offense, love you. Most people, when they tell me, Garrett, my income is $60,000 a year, when I actually get pay stubs and stuff like that, it might come in at $52,000, or it might come in at $68,000. Like a lot of people, unfortunately, it's not their job to calculate income for a living like it is mine. So don't worry, I'm not speaking down to you. I'm just saying, don't disqualify yourself. Not only that, you might be missing something, or you might be unaware of income that we don't count towards these limits. It's very complicated. So long story short, just apply, give us them documents, give us that credit report. We'll calculate this very accurately for you, so you don't need to waste your time researching any further. But just so you know, there are income limits for these programs. All 254 Texas counties have different household income limits. The down payment assistance programs, I have multiple through the state, TDHCA and TSAHC. I also have other nationwide ones that the terms are not as good, but if you need down payment assistance and otherwise qualify, we can still get you in a home. And then the income limits vary depending on whether your household is 1 to 2 people or 3 or more people. And so if you have dependents living in your house for tax purposes, or children, that will count to boost up your household size. Unfortunately, no pets. And the mortgage credit certificate and bond income limit are stricter than programs that don't apply. So just so you can get an idea, right, there's down payment assistance programs, and then if you qualify, we can stack or add on the mortgage credit certificate benefits to those programs as like an additional cherry on top. And so it's multi-layered and complex. It's not just a here, look at this handout. Your head is going to spin trying to figure this out. Don't waste your time. I do this professionally. I've helped hundreds of people, and until I received a ton of practice on this, it was confusing to me. So, you're really good at what you do for a living. I'm not going to claim to be an expert at that. Let me handle it for you and take good care of you. So, how to use it. So it's really easy. If you use TurboTax, H&R Block, or a local accountant, they're all going to know how to do this. Every year, the mortgage company is going to send you an interest statement of the interest you paid on your mortgage. You combine that to fill out this form 8396. It gives you a dollar for dollar credit. Okay, so if you're getting $3,000 a year back as tax credits, that saves you $250 a month on the mortgage equivalent. So some people, if they want to, you can adjust your withholding with your employer, your W-4 withholding, so some people, they just want a big tax refund, and if you want to do that, you can. It doesn't make sense to give them a interest-free loan all year, but you can do that. Other people, if you know, hey, I'm going to be saving $200 a month from this mortgage credit certificate, you can adjust your Form W-4 so you net more of your check each month, so you can make use of more of your budget every month. And you have to actually reside there as a primary residence. So, this thing pays for itself usually in the first 4 to 6 months of living in the home because of the tax credit is so high compared to the $1,000 certificate to get this before closing. And it's paid out of closing, not out of your pocket directly. But let's say you buy a house and you live there for 5 years and then you begin renting it after that point because you're going to move somewhere else. For the first 5 years, you can take advantage of this tax credit, the mortgage credit certificate, but unfortunately, you have to reside there to get it. Otherwise, you're committing fraud. So after you rent it out, you just gotta deal with that. Make sure your rent's high enough. So there is a downside. This is really only one downside besides the $1,000 fee, which is a great return on your investment. Recapture tax. So this is complicated. You will need to speak with a competent professional. I cannot give advice on this, but I'm just for educational purposes. You have to pay a recapture tax on this because it's a federally allocated budget program. Only if all 3 of these apply, okay? So 1, if you sell your home within 9 years. 2, if you earn significantly more income than when you bought the home. And 3, if you gain from the sale. So that means after paying for the realtor fees, title fees, any repairs you might need to do down the road, if you still profit and all those are true, you would need to pay a recapture tax. Only if all 3, 3. Now, significantly more income. Everyone's definition of this is a little different. So basically, if you're starting at $60,000 and 8 years later, your salary is now $90,000, like a normal trend with inflation of raises, also you're not going to be paying, okay? Don't worry about it. This not going to apply. So, notes, if your household income does not rise significantly over the life of the loan, generally more than 5% per year, there's no recapture tax due. If you sell your home anytime after 9 years, no recapture tax due. And if you sell your home within 9 years, but there's no gain, no recapture tax due. All 3 of these criteria must be met. Now, the worst case educational example here, right, is like, let's say you buy a home for $250,000 and you have 100% financing, just to keep it simple, and you sell it 7 years later for $350,000. Congratulations. I'm not an accountant, because if that's your primary residence, you're probably not going to have to pay any capital gains on that. Hooray, real estate. And you meet all the criteria above over here, you would owe about 6.25% of the original mortgage amount in recapture taxes, or about $15,000. Most people this will not apply to them, right? But I'm just trying to be full disclosure, transparent here. So in an example, if you got a 6% rate, you'd be getting about $22.50 a year in tax credits on a 15% mortgage credit certificate. Over 7 years, you'll have saved roughly $15,000 in interest credits. So it basically is a wash. So who really cares? I mean, it's not, the benefit you get from this is so strong compared to missing out on it. So next steps. Now, this video really encompasses the vast majority of what you need to know to take action. If you have any questions left over, they are going to be related to closing costs, rate, income qualification, and all of those things. It's a waste of time to have a phone call about until we can review your documentation, because I cannot give you accurate information without reviewing your documentation. This stuff is complex. It's not just give me I make a 100K salary, Garrett. Is that good enough? Or is that too high? It's like, well, I don't know if you're self-employed, what shows on your tax returns. I don't know all these things that might manipulate the outcome. So it's just a waste of everyone's time. So to be respectful to you and me, first, apply securely on the portal. It does not automatically pull credit, okay? Here's what the page looks like. If it will ever load, here we go. You just make an account, log in, it's all secure. It's great. It does not automatically pull credit. Next, upload all of your income documentation. The portal itself, once you finish the data section, it's going to ask you for, it'll securely ask you for what to upload. It'll be like, tax returns, pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, things like that. It'll take us a couple days to review all that for accuracy. Number 3, book a call on the calendar below, at least 1 to 2 business days out from when you upload the docs. So this is not a program that like, hey, we're under contract, Garrett, help us. That's going to be really rough. It's going to be better if we can get this work done ahead of time and then work as a team with your realtor. Like, don't just go to some online lender, get a pre-qual, write an offer, and get under contract, and then coming over to me, because it might not work in your favor to do that. It's going to be very stressful and a rush, but we'll try our best if we want to earn your business. But this is the ideal way to have no stress from your end either. Book a call at least 2 days out. It's just right down here. You just go down here and you say, all right, hey, sorry, we're not open on July 4th, but on July 6th, I want to make a call at 10:30, blah, blah, blah. Come, let's talk. Then finally, after we have a call, as a broker, we do not pay for your credit report. Other companies will front that cost to you and then recoup it at closing. But for the customers who do not close with them for one reason or another, rates, just don't end up buying a house, whatever, they need to charge you more with their rates and fees to make up for those thousands of dollars of credit reports each month, right? I don't play that game. Get your credit report directly from my vendor. Where is it? Yep, here it is. I have a credit report page. It also explains why. It's $140. I wish it was cheaper. I'm not making a penny on that. And a lot of my competitors use even more expensive credit reports than that. Okay, and so the credit report, why it's important, I don't want to pass costs on to you, number 1. Number 2, it allows us to run automated underwriting systems with VA, FHA, conventional loans, and USDA, so we can actually give you certainty on your approval or not. So without credit being in, we can't actually give you accurate information for that reason. And the beautiful thing about working with a broker owner like myself, this credit report is good for 120 days. And if we end up going with a loan program that's not down payment assistance, or we end up going with a USDA loan or something like that, all of my wholesale lending partners that we plug into accept your credit report. So we don't need to have a bunch of unnecessary credit inquiries on your report, dinging your score. And number 5, shop for a home. So again, thank you so much. This is talking about mortgage credit certificates, how amazing they are. If you qualify, you need to get this. It's not even a question. Okay, who cares about whatever other lender you're talking about if they don't have mortgage credit certificate, which a lot of them don't? You need to be talking with me. I'm going to give you a great deal. And even if they offer you mortgage credit certificates, which is rare, I'll still do my best to beat them and give you better rates and experience either way. So, long story short, thank you for your time here today. Give us a call. Let's go. Where's my contact page? This is my actual website. Give us a call, 469-888-8258. You can also go to our contact page. Every single page on our website here has a calendar where you can book a time in our real-time calendar to talk. So if you see a time pop up, I'll be there. I would love to help answer any questions you might have. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.